been doing this, the other VOD review. It's been a while though. Okay, let's keep watching. Okay, general pressure. Okay. So what I think about here, because there's a lot of damage you can do before the fight, but what I'm concerned about is, well, first off, how are we creating the crossfire when the fight happens? So, for example, the fight can happen usually when people go through one of those chokes, A or B, they go through and then something happens. Yeah, it's gonna be around this, let's call it yellow area. And what I want you to try to do is think not only about the crossfire, but maybe even think about letting them pass a little bit and be ready so you can contribute to either A or B. So I'm thinking, what if you're not doing damage before the fight, which is good. Damage before the fight is good, but you should do that until you realize that they fully reset and they're about to take the fight. And if they're about to take the fight, then I want you to have the best angle possible. So you take advantage of your whatever abilities you got, right? So maybe even if you're using one of the verticality over here, I don't know, there's not too much cover, but even if I'm above this wall, this still does something. Maybe you can lean towards the left side here. So this is going to be better for you to also just hide and let them pass. And then after that, you can do something, just stuff like that. Because now this angle, it might be concerning. There's one more idea. I'm not sure how valuable it is. You have to test that. But whenever you have the situation where enemy might come from one of the directions and you don't know where they are, you just choose the general location, which allows you to contribute to either of those sides. So that's why middle is usually decent to choose if you don't know where they're coming from. If you actually know, then commit to the side somewhere. Well, in this case, it would be the left side. If anybody knows, okay, let's start to commit there, and we should be all right. A lot of decent stuff there. I like that you being patient with your ultimate though. You see, this is exactly what we need. They coming through, okay, they commit, and then after that you start committing your ultimate too, so you kind of cutting off that groove there. Yeah, perfect. I'm not sure the attention kind of goes all the way here, but I also would like you to partially look what's happening there. Maybe you know that there's no one there, but what about this above side? There's something to watch out for too. So not all of the attention is one place, so it's not easily dodgeable too for someone with a high mobility. In this case, it's Star-Lord. Okay, anyway, a lot of good stuff. I know it's been a brief review. Maybe, do you have any questions about anything? Not sure. You're doing pretty decent. I really like the angles. I like the timing for the most part. I just want you to make sure there's high quality of the crossfire, I think, and also trying to aim for slightly better spots on the map if possible, especially in those situations when there's a choke or something like that. You guys kind of didn't struggle here, I know, at first, but maybe if you wanted me to look at any other fight, I would just have any last questions, I can answer those. But so far, looks decent. It's a pretty decent one, at least from what the parts we saw. By the way, guys, if you wanted me to look at any specific part where you struggled in the future, just message me. I just message in the notes here, and I will take a look. No questions, thanks a lot. Yeah, I'm glad it's helpful. You're doing really good though. There's the first part, I know we kind of rolled them a little bit, but this is really nice, if you can keep this up. Okay, we got more names coming in. What on rank of this? It's, I believe it's around Celestial, right? It's these high GM, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, let's watch other replays. I will put in more names. Okay, Storm Shifter, Georus. Okay, who do we got? High and Flux. Okay, I'm gonna add everyone. Who else want to join? Let's do that quick. Okay, I've got Scroll Wiser. Wait, I gotta add you as well. Is there anyone else who wants to be reviewed? Not too sure about this game. Okay, Dog for Deeds. I will put your name. Okay, and Gun, I'm 32 years old. Okay, perfect. Okay, we have more names coming in. Anyone else? Did I forget anybody? Hope not. I think everyone's there. Let me see. The channels, I think it's empty. Okay, I think we got everybody. Okay, let's scroll. Yeah, let's roll the wheel. There's one more typing, White Stallion. I will put your name in there later. Okay, Dog Food Eats. We got them. Hey, Dog Food Eats, do you have any notes about a game? You mentioned that you're not too sure about this game, haven't reviewed it. So if you could briefly go over what I could have done. Sure, any section you're interested in, by the way, because I think we not able to review the full replay, but just whatever I see, we're definitely gonna go over that a little bit more. This is Plat, Gold Lobby. It's gonna be interesting to look at. Let's see. I usually focus a lot on the fundamentals, so we'll start with that for sure. Okay, a White Stallion. Dog for Deeds. What's your name? Oh, this is you on the Salak. Okay, perfect. If you have any notes, anything you want to mention, let's can do it now. If you have any questions, let me know as well. Okay, we got this Meatown, and your composition currently is... It's kind of a mix, yeah, right? There's some brawlers, but at the same time, you also got some sort of characters which can destruct the backline a lot, like this Jeff here. So a lot of times you may find yourself engaging with them if they do play those flank angles. Some of the easiest targets for us are definitely more stationary supports like Cloak and Dagger, maybe Inviswoman, always good. I don't think Namor is too bad too, unless you engage him from long sideline. I think those are nice. And then afterwards we can just finish the tanks and try to fight the Torchman because it's one of the hardest targets for us. Okay, let's keep watching. I'm interested to see. I just want to look at this fight, probably, see how that's gonna go, and then after that we can probably discuss any of the biggest themes I notice. I already noticed a few things, okay, but let's keep watching. Let's keep watching how the fight develops. Okay, I like that you're trying to go on the angle. I assume you try to go on the up left. Okay, trying to set up over here, sure. Taking the time, and start the pressure, sure. Going from the angle there, and keep the backline busy. Okay. Alright, a lot of attention goes on us, and then we have to stabilize. We do stabilize comfortably, though. That's good. Okay. Okay, sure. I think sustaining is again fine, like we discussed on the Torchman. If you don't have most of your abilities, you have to. But now this is the mistake, because if you don't have most of your abilities, you should consider be stabilizing a little bit more. Yeah. Whenever you play any dive character, the way it works is you're trying to cycle anything you do. You just go in and try to force something out of them, and then afterwards you can try to stabilize and then do that again. But now we most likely expect you to die there, I think. I'm not sure if you hit your shots kind of crazy and then at the same time they will not support this Namor, you should be okay. But mostly I think you will die there. Let's see. Right? And this exactly happens because there is no full stabilize. Yeah, what you did there is totally fine. If you can take your time, if we don't have most of our defensive, in your case it's dashes especially, then you gotta wait. You just play around the cover, you can still sit on the angle where you are, but this is good if you can get there. And by the way, regarding the angles, I wanted to mention right away, if possible, yeah, I think if possible, if you can get on those as soon as possible, this is even better. So, for example, there, it's fine to shoot the Hulk, but I want you to always think about this flanky option, like the way you did before. You went all the way left, you maybe tried to take this building, inside the building here. These angles, I like to call those 180 angles. A lot of times you're going to be taking those. Sometimes you'll notice you may take 90 angles, but what a 180 angle is, it's the position which diverts the enemy attention. So they look at you once they make this 180 turn. They look at you instead of looking at your team. Yeah, they have to do that 180 turn. So if you can take those positions as soon as possible, then this is even better to control the map. So for example, there, I'm shooting this Hulk, makes sense, but what if I will try to just set up a more 180 angle right away first? There's no downside, right? I can always try to, I don't know, in your case, try to go above here, or maybe try to go inside the building. I think this is fine. Just try to set up first if the situation allows you, and then after that, it's good to follow up and just see if you can stabilize a little bit better, at least on what we saw. And that dash was really important. Yeah, so watch this one more time. some of the mechanics, I usually don't focus on that much, but something worth saying as well, trying to work on some of the mechanical stuff. It's usually, I suggest for you, because there's a lot of burst you can do on the Silac. Try to take your time to do each shot. A lot of players, they keep pressing their fire. They're just kind of holding the fire forever. What you can do is make sure your crosshair is right on the target first, and then actually hit the shot. And, you know, when you're trying to apply pressure, usually the corners are helping you a little bit too. If you see, when you're trying to aim, so it's here, your crosshair is a little bit all over the place. So you're starting, I just want to show one more time. You're starting here, and then the crosshair goes to this corner. But if you know where the enemies are exactly, you're thinking about diverting your crosshair to that corner where you expect the enemy to be, and this way it makes it much easier for you to aim, so it's not too jittery. So in this case, I just want you, I know it also requires you to a little bit of muscle memory, but this becomes much easier. Instead of trying to search for the enemy directly, search for the closest corner, which allows you to aim to the enemy afterwards. And while we do the corners, because there's a safety, we can also try to do a little bit of peek shoot. We can go left and hide, and then peek out and shoot afterwards. But if you place a crosshair in the corner at the head level, then you don't have to do as much movement as we do now. We just go all the way from right to the left, and then you go right again, and you're trying to align the crosshair. I like that you're not moving the crosshair as much, you're doing more movement aim in this case. This is good, but you have to think initially where your crosshair is, I think, a little bit more as well, so it makes it easy. See, like now, just trying to exactly aim the targets, I think just put that on a corner and peek shoot a little bit more. Do that exact movement aim. Left, right, that peek shoot, left, right. Yep. Okay, and we mentioned the point about stabilizing. Taking HP back was perfect, you just needed to continue to stabilize. Especially the fact given your tank is dead. If your tank is dead, we don't want to engage. We mentioned that on Torch as well, when, you know, your tank is in, they use one of the biggest defensive stuff, you just gotta go. You need to engage, but now it was not the case too. Well, we're in Starlord now. To be honest, a lot of similar ideas. You need to set up first, and then you want to fight. You see, because you're not setting up, one of the disadvantages as well is you're taking a lot of poke before the fight. You don't want that to be happening. If you're playing more of a mid-range or short-range character, I think if you can, try to set up. If possible, this map allows you, for a lot of good spaces, we can try to use the top right. I think even top left can do just fine, but top right in your case, it can be even better, because we're trying to get close to those more poke range characters as well. Yeah, there's some amount of poke they can do. Even Hulk can poke you out, or this, if this woman, they can poke you out. Namor, 100% poking you out. So I think just get closer in a more comfortable range, so you can shoot for free, and you will not get your damage blocked too. Just try to go on the angles, verticality first. Let me see, I swat Starlord after first death, so you can skip to that. Oh, sorry, okay, that was my bad. I didn't read right away, but anyway, a lot of those fundamentals will apply. We'll see. Set up first, and then I want you to be able to stabilize. Okay. This is not too bad there. If you recognize that there's big advantage with ultimate, I think you can take advantage of that, but you want to be careful with committing too hard though. Yeah, once the ultimate wears out, I want you to make sure you reset up. And see, this is the point where you stabilize, by the way, because they're using one of their ultimates as well. That's good. You went on the verticality. Okay. This is kind of free shooting the turrets first, and then afterwards we can do stuff. Alright. It's a little bit unfortunate, to be honest. I'm not sure if we have to leave from there as well. It kind of challenged this Torchman. I'm not sure you have to leave the angle. You maybe think that you have to stabilize because they're using an ultimate, the Amethyst, but do you have to go towards your team, right? Can you stabilize by using this angle here still? I think it's still possible. And that's what I want to say. If you can maintain map control, just do that, I think. You don't have to exactly go back, because this a lot of times makes it easy for them to approach you anyway. Imagine this Amethyst from their perspective. They're trying to push in, and they will try to just use the ultimate in this direction. You make it easy for her to use that, and also maybe even for Namor. That's why there's partially why we getting hit by that. But if you maintain your sideline, then they have to divert the attention multiple places. They have to look at point A and point B at the same time. So it's going to be pretty tough, yeah? And you can stay there still, I think. Of course, we survive because we're behind the cover, but I think this is really, really important if you can get up there first. By the way, Dog for Teens, do you have any questions? Maybe if there's anything you want to ask me, feel free to do that. You can also unmute. That's okay. If not, we will keep going. I see you typing. Okay. Alright, we notice there's a Hawk in the backline. I'm not sure how viable it is to go after them exactly. So see, the thing about your position is once you have that, it allows you to shoot what's more convenient for you at the moment. So the question is, if I'm at this position, can I still maintain that? And are there any more viable targets for me to shoot? Well, I think in theory the backline can work just fine still. The position where you are, the range, the fact given we have decent range, shooting one of those guys, maybe Namor, is fine. I don't think we have to go all the way back this way, because what's important is the uptime. Yeah, why I mentioned setup a lot of times, because if you skip that, when we don't have the best position, a lot of times we have to do a lot of this movement. We kind of go from point 1 to point B and back and forth, back and forth. But what if I just maintain position somewhere in the middle, let's say this point 3 or this position 3 around the building inside, and then you don't have to constantly go back and forward, go back and forward. You kind of have bigger uptime because you have this position, you can constantly keep shooting from there and you'll be fine. And obviously, if you really need to, you can go back, but a lot of times we would be able to stay at the positions where you are, I think. Well, ultimate is alright. It's just a little bit easier for them to hide in this case. You see why? Because you approach from the main anyway, and your team is approaching from there. So I probably would prefer you to set up again first before using that, but it's alright. It's fine, the tips help me with Psylocke. One thing I want to look for is sometimes I stagger my reload with my roll when I'm almost fully reloaded. And any tips to stop doing that, and if it happens in this game. I see. Okay. I think mostly how you train any of the habits. I know it's more mechanical, so a lot of people, they have this, but mechanical habits, maybe they do jump a lot, or maybe they just not reload or reload too much. I just think replace this habit with something different. So what you could have done different, so it's more active in your case, and this helps you to just get rid of that if you're not comfortable, right? I think start with that. Yeah, for example, a lot of the times when we could be trying to do the pressure, yeah, like for example, I just say from mechanical standpoint. Yeah, kind of shoot. Okay, this is fine. Okay, this is fine. I'd say I just want to catch if there's anything I notice. I think it's alright so far mechanically, right? On the Psylocke though, we did talk a lot about the crosshair placement. Okay, setup. Maybe only one point I want to say is because you set up, it also makes it easier for you to aim a lot of times. If you're thinking about where the enemies are moving, how they take space, because your team attacks from here, A, and you kind of on this more 90 angle and verticality, you also have that allows, it makes it easy for you to aim in general. Because those guys, the way they strafe is they're gonna be strafing against a lot. So it looks like they go this way. So if you're on this 90 angle, a lot of times you notice that it's easy for you to aim as well. It can apply to characters like Psylocke, characters like Star-Lord, doesn't matter who. It's always easier in theory. So if you can take those angles, I think why not? You can take advantage of those too. Stuff like that. Okay, I know it's been brief, but we can also look at the others a little bit. I just want to make sure everybody, almost everybody at least, gets a little bit of attention. But so far, to just summarize, I want to more consistent, proper setup first. After that, make sure you're able to stabilize, because you don't want to fight well, you want to keep fighting. You want to have bigger uptime this way, because you stabilize, you can go in and out, but not necessarily you have to go out to your team. You can still sit on the angle if you have good line of sight on your team. Just ask for healing or use HP packs, use corners, and you should be alright, to be honest. That's what I would do. Just maintain this flank control if you can. Okay, let's just look at the other replays. Anyone else? I also got, yeah, we got White Stallion. I will put your name. Okay, let's go on the Wheel of Names. Okay, who are we gonna get? Do you guys have any questions, by the way, so far? If you guys do, then feel free to ask those. Okay, let's spin the wheel. Are we getting anyone else? Okay, Mystic Shadow stopping. Okay, I'm gonna spin for now. Are we gonna get White Stallion? I remember it was not able to. I remember it was not able to get the the replay review before for some reason. That's good.
That's really funny.
Yeah, it's good we got you. That's karma. Okay, right there. That's good. Okay, we are starting with this one. Do you have any notes for this?
So I was looking at it yesterday, and it was pretty
Sorry.
fairly matched. We went into overtime.
Yeah.
Can you hear me right now?
Yeah,
Sorry.
I can hear you now. It did cut off for a second for me, though. Yeah.
My bad.
That's
Sorry.
No worries, no worries.
So it was, if you could look at the third round.
Third round?
Or not the third round.
Yeah.
The
this?
the third, like, yeah. So what happened here was, in the beginning of the match, I portaled to the second floor, and then, which is pretty good. And then I did it again, but I don't know if I should have swapped it. And then I just don't know what our team did wrong.
Oh, okay. I'm curious. I definitely think if you did the TP already, maybe you can change the location slightly. But to be honest, let's see. I just really curious how we implement that. To be honest. Okay, let me see. The select thing you were talking about. You were saying aim for the top right of the character model for getting better mechanically with aim. No, not for the top right of the character, but you need to place crosshair on corners and head level. So this way it makes it easy for you to aim. So instead of, I'm just going to give you an example. So a lot of people, they would, let's say I want to aim, I don't know, towards this guy here, towards the, to anyone at the main. A lot of people would just have their crosshair out in the middle. But because I have crosshair in the corner, on the corner, so a lot of people, they would just place the crosshair here. But if I have the corner, the crosshair on the corner, then I don't have to move it as much. And as soon as I pick the corner, then it makes it easy for me to shoot. And I also don't have to do a lot of the crosshair swapping. Yeah, I don't have to move the crosshair a lot. I don't have to move with the mouse a lot. I have to more of a movement aim shooting. So when I have the crosshair placed here, especially for the high burst characters, you can peek out and shoot, peek out and shoot. That's how it's working. I'm just trying to make sure I understand, because I also aim trying to work on the character. Yeah, exactly. So place it on the corners and then you peek shoot. I also suggested I mentioned that briefly. Trigger discipline is really important. So instead of constantly holding your fire like a lot of people do, just make sure that you click when your crosshair is actually on the target. So you do it alongside with the crosshair placement. I peek shoot, and when the crosshair is on the target afterwards, I start shooting instead of holding the fire. And this way it makes it easy. When you practice your aim, you can also do that in the training range. You just do that on the boards. I think that's completely fine. Take your time. Take your time with the shooting, because if you watch any high tier player, you see that they're really good at aiming. It seems that it's really smooth. But to be honest with you, to get to this level, you first off need to get better with the basics at the crosshair replacement. Yeah, just make sure you do that slow at first. It's fine to be slow at crosshair replacement first, but then later on you can build up the speed, so it will feel more smooth, like it feels for when you watch pro players. Yeah, it feels that they're really good with aiming, maybe reaction, but it's not true. First off, it's decisions, their positioning, also crosshair placement in general. Because of the decisions, because of the awareness, it makes it so much easier for them to aim. Yeah, that's why just aiming alone, I don't think it's too good to focus on if we look at that away from the stuff like decisions and your position. You definitely need to keep that in mind. And you see any of the best coaches as well. I know there's one aimer who I've been contacting a little bit with. Their name is Thanos. I don't know if they do any content now, but they do talk a lot about that, for example. You can also watch anyone like Ron Kimbo, if I have their name correctly. They're also really good at this stuff too. They will tell you 100% what I tell you now too. Okay, so we started with the P. Let's just go back to the Doctor Strange replay.
Yeah.
Okay, then thank you. That makes a lot more sense. we'll keep all of that in mind. Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's look. Okay,
I think.
Yeah, what do you think?
So this is. I was looking back at it, and our Loki instead, because I don't want to blame him, but like
Yeah.
she didn't get the high ground. She went on point with Emma and I, and he
Yeah, they
used his
just
lamp,
yeah.
and he didn't have any clones on the floor, so that's how I die. Because I die like first, I think. Unfortunately.
I just watch how the fight develops. I'm definitely not. I just want to say in general, I'm definitely not a big fan of dropping right away though after the TP. Just in general, if you guys had any comms in general, I usually prefer people once we got the map control, then actually use that. What do we get it for? So we walk for free. Well, maybe there's one purpose: avoid poke damage once we get from one point to another. That's good. That is done. That has done the job. But what about the map control so we can spread a little bit more, take our own angles, and then afterwards we can drop? Yeah, like I said, I definitely this is not ideal. If we drop right away, maybe try to just set up a little bit more, and then afterwards you can call the push if possible. I don't know, but yeah. Well, in this case you have to. If they start approaching, let me see where it starts. Yeah, so they kind of start walking. If they do that, then you gotta walk, but make sure you do it in your own the best way possible. So it's not necessarily gonna be stuck in with them too much. You can still take an angle away a little bit. So there's some.
Yeah, because the only reason.
Yeah.
The only reason I jumped was because Emma jumped. And
Yeah,
I'm like, well,
so this is good. This is a good decision right there. Yeah, as I mentioned, I think you don't have any other choice in this case because you have to start always. I always say that it's always better to be on the same page, even though you have a silly plan. Yeah, it's better to be silly, but do it together instead of being smart, but do it alone. Yeah, do it just by separately. Yeah, so if the Sama pushes in and you're not pushing in, I think that's gonna be bigger mistake. Of course, you gotta do something. But with the way you approach that, let's keep watching. I'm not sure. The way we start the pressure, it's too comfortable. It definitely feels like we somehow need to take advantage of the parts of the map a little bit more. I'm not sure where can you go exactly. Like in this case, it seems the right side. If the ammo is going there, then maybe I'm leaning towards the left side slightly better. But this feels really open. But yeah, this is just not as comfortable when we started to attack because we absorb so much pressure as a tank. And even though as a tank you need to absorb the pressure, you need to do that deliberately. You need to think about what's active damage now. So for example here, this Groot walks in and maybe those guys gets a little bit more active. So in theory, if I absorb only their damage, then this is good damage because this is something what your team can control. And if those guys we absorbing, this is not good damage, we cannot control, then it's not the best. So in theory, I want you to start leaning towards maybe this side so you can create this scenarios a little bit more. You kind of deal with one angle at a time, but deal with the scariest angle possible right now, which is pushing, so you're not exposed to too much cheap damage, which is not necessary. Yeah, like for example, those guys, if somebody would be in the back here, I don't want to be exposed to them. Yeah, like this guy's here as well. I don't think you gotta be exposed to them that much in this case. I'd rather be exposed to what's in here. Yeah, what's more in front, more dangerous at the moment. Yeah, hope that doesn't make sense, by the way, what's telling or.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
You gotta get more space.
Yeah. That's the only thing, to be honest. Besides the communication stuff, but yeah, as we mentioned, you have to push. You have to do something there. Okay, but take space. Use AOE. Sure. You guys get rid of those, or yeah. It's a little bit more difficult there to just stabilize exactly. It feels, but still trying to.
That storm is really good.
Yeah. I like that it went on the angle eventually, but it's gonna be difficult, I think, at this time. Yeah, this first push matters so much. You have a limited amount of time for sure. Okay. So the round is over. Do you want to look at the next one? I think we can also look at one more fight.
Okay, so this is what happened, right? So the whole team pushed, and they're pushing main, and then Strange teleported to the objective, and Emma and I went back, and that's how we lost the game, because we lost so much space.
Yes, so much.
That's exactly why we lost.
Okay. So it happens here. They're gonna TP in.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I think in a couple seconds, that's when Strange teleports back, and then for some reason, like I didn't have any comms with them, but like M or I stay on the front, because then we just immediately just beeline to the back, and then we lose all that space.
Okay.
Because no one's putting pressure on the front, so they just have free access to just walk and set up.
Let's see. So this
now
guy's
6v1.
Yeah, this guy's really bad himself. So he should. This is really unfortunate. This guy's 1 HP. He should die. Well, to be honest, this here, whenever you, I'm just trying to think. Well, first off, when we're thinking about the pressure, because they're creating the TP, that's not the best TP currently anyway. But they still do that. I think. Unless you recognize it's really easy to get a kill on somebody, you gotta focus on what is the most scary angle, like we said. Just in this case, for whatever reason, if you recognize that this Punisher is coming back, well, this is really 1 HP though. If you hit that, I think this is fine. This is good reason to shoot them now. But if you recognize the stabilize afterwards, for whatever reason, then the most attention should go either towards this here, the Storm, or the Punisher in this case. How do you...
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking.
Really...
The reason I was thinking that was because I know Emma's being the front line, so I was going to off-tank more. But I don't know if it was bad to go all the way back, because we end up losing anyway. So I don't know if it would have been better to just stay at the front
there.
Or rotate back. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. So the thing is, when you have the positioning, eventually you kind of went for the setup. I think you... Not only just thinking what is the best target to shoot in general, but I think you gotta shoot what's convenient for you now, what does the biggest amount of pressure. So we kind of keep it simple. What is the most scary angle for me? This guy at the start, I don't think he is too killable, let's put it this way, because he's got the shield, he's using shift. So right now, 100% your attention should probably go towards here, because that is the most convenient position we have to shoot anything. Yeah, we're not able to shoot anyone else, so we're kind of shooting this a little bit. But then afterwards, you kind of maybe can think, okay, what's available? Maybe this guy's out for whatever reason, then you can shoot this. But this guy still pushes in, and there are some more people coming in. I think this is a more scary angle until this happens, until they come in. So you probably play around discover whatsoever, and they come in. You probably will think about who is going to be more scary. I'm not sure which one. The fact given, yeah, I'm really.
I've never.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying I've never had that happen before.
Yeah,
that's why I'm like.
Yeah.
I'm like.
That's why tanking a lot of times it's might be interesting. It might be difficult at the same time. But the basic answer, and I've been also a tank player by myself, been doing that in Overwatch too. It's always choose the. I wouldn't say lesser evil in this case, yeah, but you gotta, on the opposite, you gotta choose what's the most scary, yeah, the bigger evil in this case. So it really depends on their resources, their positioning, their ultimates as well. It feels like this position, those guys have the definitely, if they're gonna commit, they're more killable. Those guys no, but they have more numbers. They have 3, these people have 2. Cooldowns wise, well, it's kind of even. Nobody used too much anything. Let me see, maybe the rocket, if they commit.
I was gonna say it's definitely the positioning, because looking at it right now, everyone's so bunched up. Like no one's on that second floor for healing, and they don't really have any poke characters. They don't have any poke characters that'll be able to hit like Loki.
Yeah, this is the struggle too. You can't, unfortunately, you can't control your teammates though in this case. Yeah, you definitely have to. Ideally, you have to send your teammates around those areas, but this is ranked, so we can do that. Ideally, just make sure you control around the point, and then afterwards, if this happens, you send the tanks with defensive abilities. For example, it can be anyone. It can be you, it can be Emma Frost. If you have defensive abilities, you go contest the point, absorb pressure, and then your team can do stuff. But in this case, you just choose whatever is the scariest. I think this here would be fine to choose initially, as I mentioned. Maybe this could add a little bit bigger value. Unless you see this guy is really killable. Yeah, there's also some small mechanics mess up too, right? If you're gonna be honest, yeah, maybe this could also turn the fight around, but probably the decisions before gotta be focusing on those 3 people, because they've been more scary. Yeah, you shoot what's scary. The point of the tank is not always get the kill, but try to absorb the damage from whatever is the biggest, creating the biggest pressure on your teammates later on. So, and yeah, of course, you create the pressure through damage too. Yeah, you can kill, you can do stuff with their backline. Yeah, your E is really important. Shoot the backline, right? It might be partially one of those cases too. Really unfortunate setup on your team there at your end. But it's also, if you think about that, the decisions before, how those can influence the game, so you will not have those situations, right? Maybe there is something we could have done before, so we'll not get to that part where we have to defend this awkward situation, kinda. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah, I
maybe
got.
thought. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
I'm just saying I got really tilted like during this game. I'm
yeah,
gonna be honest. I had to take a break because I was like, we should have won that. Because at the
yeah.
beginning, I was solo tanking and they had Groot and the Thing, I think, on this. And I was like, I can't really do anything.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I understand that. I understand that. So there's definitely a part to it what we could be doing initially as well. Maybe there's something. There's something to tweak. There's always 100%. There's going to be something. A lot of times you also notice the streamers, why it's so easy, it always feels that it's easier for them to do and rank to GMs, and people in the comments, they say, well, if I would have those good teammates, I would easily climb to GM tier or something. But in reality, they snowball their game so much because of just how well they play initially, and then the enemy, they also tilt, and at the same time, your team, they have high morale in a way, and they're not gonna leave, right? A lot of people, they say also, well, I got servers, but what are we doing in the game in general? Yeah, is our performance solved? If yes, then usually it's gonna be so much easier for you and your teammates, and you'll not get into those situations where it's that uncomfortable, because yeah, it's important to make sure we solve that, but yeah, it's definitely what we could have done before matters. Okay, hope that makes sense. Do you have
Yeah,
any
appreciate it.
questions?
Um, so it would have been better on the first one that we reviewed to try to get more of an angle and try to get more space
Yeah,
on
angle.
the
So you need to
attacking.
minimize. Yeah, if it's summers, you need to minimize. If we really just simplify, you need to deal with the most important angle at all times. So you don't need to be exposed to every piece of damage. At the same time, you need to choose valuable damage. Right at the start, it was too much cheap damage. When you done the TP, a lot of attention all over the place. Yeah, so you need to kind of isolate a little bit. It's not necessarily that you will be playing all the time cover, but at least I've wanted to try to move towards an angle where there's a possibility for you to break line of sight with the cheap damage, which doesn't matter right now. You need to be dealing with the bigger pressure at all times if possible. Yeah, sometimes there are awkward situations like this where map is really open, so we have to stay in the middle, but still I want you to not by default go to the main, but go somewhere to the cover if possible, if you have any, so you can isolate the enemy a little bit more and deal with one angle at a time if you can. That's the really important thing on the tank. I also understand, because when you getting those games where they also have a lot of poke too, it's gonna be complicated for you to manage your resources, but you have to somehow. You have to think about the environment, so it just allows you to resustain a little bit more, stabilize, and this sort of stuff. Yeah, does it make sense?
Yeah, thank you. I
Oh
appreciate
no,
it.
okay, perfect. We got one more. Let's do one more. Wait, let's do one more spin. Okay, also, I want to make sure I read the chat. Okay, then, thank you, thank you. Okay, yeah, Mystic Shadows, I appreciate that. Oh, we got the gun. Wait, a gun, it's your... It's your replay here. Okay, perfect. Playing Punisher. Playing Punisher again. I actually remember what we done with you in the Punisher before. I did talk about the angles, about you taking off angles, and then timing the pressure of the rest of your team, if I'm not mistaken. So I want you to see, I want to see how that went, how the setup went. I'm curious. Let's look. What's the rank as well? Okay, it's around gold, silver, well, kind of a mix, a little bit of everything. Average feels gold, right? Okay, let's watch. If you got any questions, by the way, feel free to ask those too. Okay, let's see. Is there any section you want us to focus on a little bit more? If you hear, Gun? Do you want me to look at attack, defense? What do you prefer? if there's no preference, let's just roll with anything. You're just gonna start with the start, and we keep watching. I think before we did look at attack, so maybe we can watch defense. But I'm curious because your Doctor Strange is doing the TP. It might be interesting to see what's gonna happen. Yeah, let's watch. Okay, so we're doing the TP and then creators. I like this idea, especially through the lens of what we discussed before. If we can take an off angle by doing the TP, ideally, if some of your teammates are also pushing and just absorbing the attention, then this here can do stuff. I'm not sure how valuable it is to do it from here, because what your setup is going to be next. Yeah, where can you do next? I assume this is your duo, maybe? You guys can also consider what are you doing after, once we drop from this area, yeah, once we use this TP, what is our next solution? Maybe you move into the top right is gonna be good, so you can maintain that position. Maybe even trying to, in this case, yeah, I think top right can be the best. Oh, yeah?
Yeah, actually, I was actually 4 stacking with Charlie and I think like 2 others in the VC earlier. That's
Yeah, join Gosu, yeah,
and
perfect advertisement.
yeah, yeah, and I think I actually was seeing if Monk was actually wanting or was actually fine doing the in a sense doing the AC 130 strat when it comes to TP.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, okay. No,
That was
this sounds pretty good though. I like the idea.
yeah. And actually sleep was actually sleep when it came to one of her at least like one of her one-on-ones with me. She actually recommended or she actually gave me a some like another guy that actually I think he does like game design, or at least like game design when it comes to like other games that he actually kind of like illustrates it more when it comes to like better positioning and whatnot. That's kind of what I was kind of like. As soon as I go through the portal, that's kind of what I was trying to actually do
Yeah.
more, is like trying to like
Yeah, damage output is
try
fine.
to understand more when it comes to understand more when it comes to like a lot of positioning.
Okay, okay. Yeah, interesting. Did you have a chance to implement some of the latest feedback regarding the angles? We talked about that in our last, I think, previous review.
Actually I think I actually legit tried to kind of implement more of the like angles and whatnot, like because I do remember from what you were saying the last time you did a VOD review, and
Yeah.
I was and I'm actually legit trying.
This is fine. This is fine. Yeah, that's why I'm really curious how that went. And I like this idea, especially if we can try to use the TP to just support this idea too. Maybe somehow take an angle. I just mentioned, well, what our next solution though after we doing this? How can you keep the off angle going? So probably just try to think about taking top right whatsoever. But let's see. I like this so far though. This does a lot of pressure. I want you to try to think about what's next, though. Yeah, this is what I mean. Instead of maybe me going here, what if I go there right away, right? There's no downside. I even think you can launch yourself with a grenade there, to be honest. Can you do that if you kind of just grenade here?
No, I can't. If you're talking about like going like where I jumped from directly to the actual ledge, the only way I could actually legit do that is if I go directly to where the plants are, at least like the actual platform that actually has the plants.
Yeah,
And actually smoke grenade on top of that. But
this
believe me,
can
I
also be
actually
fine.
do that. It's the thing is that I think I saw a I think I saw a venom literally come up, like almost come up towards me. I literally just pull out the shotgun and just try to pull a buckshot.
That's okay. Well, to be honest with you, if there is any sort of threat, I still always say that, and we kind of mentioned that on Salak review and that the Torch man as well, partially. If he able to stabilize and just still go towards the available angles, that's fine, to be honest. It's okay that you just keep shooting them, like in this case, okay, we can drop, maybe think about how to use a grenade. I'm still not sure about this. If maybe you can start your animation here, and then you kind of can launch yourself here. I think it's kind of I'm not a Punisher player, but it feels like it's
No.
possible maybe, but I don't know. You gotta test. I don't know.
I'm gonna have to test that out, but
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
It's like no, I don't know. I don't know myself.
Anyway, the point given is what that we're trying to do if we can go towards the most valuable sidelines for us is just continuous damage with those high grounds over here, for example, continuous damage and slight off angle. Yeah, not too greedy like on Salak. We mentioned on Torchman as well, you can do flanks a lot too, but it's definitely more softer, but at the same time you still have that option because you have more opportunities. You can always choose your battles. You can go fight this angle, you can fight this here, you can fight the point. So kind of this is our series crafting usually for this, so we just have easier time. This is really good initial play though, so you probably will be capping the point, yeah, unless they
we do. We do legit cap on.
And see, this is what I mean. So you will not get caught in those awkward situations where they start pressure and then you kind of end up here and then you're getting caught by those guys in the back. It
I
seems
know.
that...
I know. Yeah. When I saw those hit markers, I'm like shit.
Yeah, that's
and
why.
I immediately just turn around.
Yeah, that's why I consider. I want you to always think you've done the good pressure from there. There was good off angle at the start with the DP, yeah? Some of your teammates went in, you done the pressure from there, and then afterwards, where do I move so I can maintain the same continuous pressure going? I maybe think this stop, so you're not thinking in terms of safety that distance is your safety. Like in this case, we went from here away from point to here, but rather think about what angle I'm getting to next. So it's gonna be
I actually think I do manage to survive. I think I do manage to survive and get up to the actual
it's gonna be difficult because of the crossfire. Yeah, you see, it can be maybe if I just used one of this grapple or something, but I definitely think this is one of the symptoms.
When it comes to Punisher's grapple, it even where I am, it wouldn't even actually fully grapple. It wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. So it's mostly, especially in the battle, I think, launch grenade it's just more of the active tool. I think the grapple is more of a setup tool. It feels always kind of maybe initially, and maybe you can just prepare that, help you out just with rotation. But other than that, I think it's definitely not the active combat tool. Yeah, let's put it this way. I think this smoke and your turret are more active combat tools mostly. So yeah, you're right. Okay. Let's see, you guys gonna cap the point. What's next? Where are we gonna go next? I'm curious. Angles pressure. Okay, we got this. Waiting for this, guys. You can think right away. So I want you to grapple. Where do I go with the grapple? Continuous damage. Well, some of the options. Just take top right away. Yep, you can see this entire map. Maybe you can just gotta be careful about the right side of the coming through here because you don't have.
I don't even take the right side anymore. Yeah. I primarily just mainly just either go take higher point when it comes to main. But
yeah,
but I also
this can also be okay. It's just a little bit.
I was trying to get on top. I was trying to get onto top of that ledge, and it did not go as well as I thought it would.
What kind of position? Because you guys currently attacking, let's call this yellow area. What position allows you for better continuous damage opportunities towards this area?
The ledge to the right. If you're attacking the ledge to the right, or the roof to the left.
Yeah, you see, this is exactly. I think the left side in your case is even better because once they start falling back and you know their route, where they're going, you're just trying to still continuously shoot them. And it's just so important for those characters where it's just constant damage, and you have the turret as well. I don't know if any of you guys also played Overwatch. There's a character Bastion. That's also pretty important. Just once we set up and we in this turret mode, so I'm just putting up the pressure, and even though they fall back, I'm still keep shooting. But here, because there's a kind of more perpendicular corner, if that makes sense, if they start pressure, then they can instantly hide. So you have less opportunities to do continuous damage, but those sidelines can work really good if you're trying to surprise them and kill instantly. So this is one upside though. So once they start pushing like this, In Syria, you can just wait for a really long time, but you gotta communicate with your team, such as, okay, kite, wait, and then drop and do something with your turret, or maybe even stay there. Yeah, it can also be maybe fine, but other than that, it's not as valuable usually. I think one of those moments where you have to be more sneaky and let them pursue is especially when you have your ultimate. I think this is underrated. If we can get extreme flank somehow and just set up and be sneaky just like that, then this is really good in my opinion. You can always do that. By the way, again, this idea is similar to the games like Overwatch. I'm not just making this up. It's actually, I explain why it's so valuable. You have higher burst, it's fine to be more sneaky and wait. For whatever reason, maybe it's the turret, maybe it's your ultimate, I think. Both, yeah. This is really good. Alright. But yeah, in your case, I think the sideline will do just fine. You can even ask Doctor Strange. They can also get there too. I think that would be interesting to watch if you guys can just set up there, and then the rest of your team is pushing over here, and they just have this angle this way. I think this is gonna be funny. Yeah, well, continuous damage, right? Just always how we getting on those sidelines. Okay. I like that you go into the sides. Yeah, so see, there's definitely improvement. It feels we not just going on the main right away, kind of searching for those places, and this is so much better. Continuous damage at all times. You set up first, okay, I'm going into it mode. Maybe in this case, because the guys got an advantage, probably would like you to go even deeper a little bit, yeah, because you're making this turn, so would like you to maybe sit here, or even, honestly, even here could also work. Slightly more aggressive, but it can work. The fact given you guys also gonna be using your ultimates. If you communicate in that, okay, we're pushing, we're gonna use the ultimate, 3-1 something, you can even do that, but it requires you to use your grapple. This is also, well, it's okay. A little bit too defensive, but I still like that idea instead of being
after like a little bit, I kind of just get off. I just get off of that spot and just move forward.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There's just no continuous damage opportunities because they just making that turn. But that's fine. All right. Well, I think that's it for today. I know we've done not every replay, but I hope you guys learned some of the stuff. Maybe any of the tips. If 1-2 things been helpful, that's pretty good for me already. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to message me. Do you have any final questions for the day? And yeah, Yugan, do you have any last questions, or everything's been clear so far?
I mean, unless if you're wanting to kind of like do like or go through the VOD go through the VOD fully directly after this, but no, not really.
Yeah, I think I got another session, so probably don't have time to review this fully, but it's fine. Well, I will do more of the community VOD reviews. Seems to be popular. I will just pause that. I will announce it's gonna be probably one more this month at least, maybe 2 more. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, it's fun to do those. Okay.
All right then, but yeah, nothing so far. So.
All right, all good. Then, if you guys, any of you guys who in the chat, if you have any questions, feel free to ask those. If not, then it'll be good to end. Yeah, it's been pretty fun. Okay, Geo, I see that you're typing. Yeah, any last questions? Where do I post it so it gets reviewed? Oh, sorry, I think you was on the list. Okay, so the way I do that, because there are many people, I just post your name in here in the chat, and then I scroll the wheel, and then whoever is getting picked, I review that replay. I just, unfortunate, I just not able to fit everyone in an hour. I'm sorry, but I will try to get you next time if possible. Anyway, anyone who joins first, they get the priority, I think, too. I just put their name first. So we just literally had 2 people, and I scrolled the wheel right away. So we got one of the guys, Huka, I think, got their replay reviewed right away. Stuff like that. That's fine, though. All right. Then I will see everyone later. And good luck in your games. I think that's it. I will post everything in the Ghost Academy, too, so you guys can rewatch that. But But bye-bye, everyone. Good luck.
Big G Festival, sorry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah?
Sorry, my bad. Have you ever seen anything like that with that portal? Because I wasn't expecting to see that in, like, Plat 1.
Oh, yeah. The thing is, they are playing in a
That's so
group.
risky.
Yeah, they're playing in a group, so it's interesting. I think it's definitely unexpected because enemy team, they definitely, you expect them to sit around the point somewhere, and this portal, it kind of allows you to control space pretty good. The downside though, if the enemy team is good and they controlling spaces around like the left side or the right side like or so, then I think it's gonna be harder to get value because you can just kite it and then yeah, that's it. But because this is a plot game, like I mentioned, I think it's just getting a lot of value this way. It's just more unpredictable, and people stack point anyway. They've been not on top. We saw them. Everyone been on the point, if I'm not mistaken. So did get value. It's fun play.
Yeah.
It's more risky. It's kind of more of a streamer play things. But yeah, it can be it can be working sometimes from time to time. Yeah, I definitely think it's on
Awesome, I
riskier
appreciate
side. I wouldn't prefer the team to do that if that's been the scrim tournament. Maybe not. I think maybe not.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
That's all good. Okay, then bye bye everyone. Good luck in the games.